Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with another deck review. So since we're so close to Ostara, I wanted to talk about this deck that I've had for many years in my collection. It's one that I have just kept throughout all of the many different out-of-state moves and things like that. I just love the imagery from this deck. Now, this is a deck that features 4 different artists, and so the art is very different, but it's still very cohesive. So this was published by Red Feather, and it's just a traditional 78 card tarot deck. It has, the different messages that you would be used to with a traditional tarot deck. So the artists are going to be Molly Applejohn, Eden Cook, Krista Gibbard, and Julia Iredale. And so I guess all of these artists were located in Vancouver, Canada. I'm not sure if that's still what it is because this was published a while ago. I don't even know if it has a publishing date on here. Let's see. Let's see if it's inside the book. Full color book. So this was in 2017. So I've had this for a long time. And the book is beautiful. If you're someone that really enjoys having guidebooks that have a little bit more information, one of the things that I thought was very unique at the time was that this also had reversed meanings, which a lot of decks back then didn't really have an expanded reversed meaning. So if you're someone that reads reversals, that's always really nice. But it just has the full picture of the card, a lot of information, keywords, which I think is great, especially if you're someone that really has a love for tarot. So it has really good information. The other thing that I really enjoyed about this deck was that there was actually meanings for the minor arcana. That is something that I feel gets commonly overlooked within tarot decks, is that usually the minors don't really get a lot of attention. So this is nice because you still get those keywords, you still get the upright and reverse meanings. The artwork isn't just like pips where it's just that. So nothing was really left behind or forgotten with this deck. And so I just want to show you guys why I have kept this deck over the years in my collection, even if there are other decks that are, pretty similar in theme and things like that. So the deck box is a little different too. So maybe not the most compact for storage, but what I love is the colors here. It's this beautiful kind of seafoam, teal, like very light, but not being like super just like spring and green. And then there's, the reversible backs on these cards. They have silver edging or like some gilding on the sides. Mine's a little flaky because, again, I have used this deck for a long time. It's been very well loved. It is more of a shiny finish, which I know is not everyone's favorite. And for me, especially now that I'm trying to transition to doing more videos, it can be a little bit cumbersome, but it's still a deck that I think is absolutely stunning and beautiful. So the only thing with this deck that I would kind of warn people of is sometimes if you're not sure of what suit you're doing or what number, everything's in Roman numerals. So just be mindful of that, because I know that can be a stumbling block for some people, especially if they're not familiar with having Roman numerals on the cards. But this would be the 6 of Wands, because we have the little like sticks. So I'm just going to show you guys what we have here. So this is the 4 of Cups. And you can see the different artwork. But it's still, again, I think because the color palette is still very cohesive, it's not like anything really is crazy looking. So here's the Emperor. We have the Hierophant. This is the 10 of Coins or Pentacles. Here we have the Page of Swords. So there's some imagery that will still carry from like a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, which is nice. Here we have the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, the King of, is this the King of Wands? No, the King of, I don't, maybe Cups. Excuse me. I think this one's a King of Cups, right? Because that's a king. I think it's the King of Cups. So see, sometimes it can be a little confusing. So let's go look in the guidebook, because sometimes I'm like, it's been so long since I've used this deck, which I feel like kind of like, oh, I gotta like bust it out again and start using it once more. Yeah, so it is a King of Cups, because there's the big cup that he's dipping his hands into. It's just with the little candles, I would think that's a Wands card. So here we have the Knight. I think this is the Knight of Pentacles, because there's the bear. Here we have the Queen of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles, and then we have, the Five of Wands, the World. So the imagery is more of like an invitation, I think, to kind of look at what you think the card may be talking about, which I do. It was something that I really loved whenever I was like really starting to get more comfortable with my tarot practice, as someone that like has picked it up and put it down, picked it up and put it down. I know that when I was kind of like trying to move away from more traditional like Rider-Waite-Smith decks, or kind of the more like familiar decks, that this is one of the ones that I felt comfortable enough to start using, that didn't feel super overwhelming. And as someone that like at the time didn't really like artwork that featured a lot of people on it, this was nice because there was like a lot more animals in the deck while still, allowing me to kind of connect to the traditional messages of tarot. So here we have the Knight. So I'm just going to show you guys all of the cards. They're really beautiful. The artwork is just fun. I love all of the like animals and just how interesting some of the interpretations of the artwork have been. There's Temperance. There's the Ace of Swords. It's so cute with the little mouse. The Fool. The Page of Pentacles. Here we have the Four of Pentacles. The Three of Cups. Here's the Devil. There's some fun artwork in here. I'm going to just turn these around because it seems like the rest of these are kind of course, I turn it around and then it's like back to, I mean, that's a beautiful Ten of Swords. We have the Three, the Hanged Man, the Tower, the Sun. And I always thought this Four of Swords was like just really beautiful. There's a Two, the Three of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, the Seven. I always thought the Seven of Swords was so cute because it's like he's sneaking away. Here we have the Ace of Cups, Queen, and here we have, which one is that one? I think this is the Seven of Cups. Yeah. So here's the King of Swords. There's Death, Queen, and here we have the Seven of Wands, Judgment. I always thought this Judgment card was stunning. So there's a lot of beautiful imagery, very different than you would traditionally kind of associate with some of these cards, which I thought was, I don't know, again, it's one that I always kind of choose to keep in my collection for the artwork. It's something that I feel is still really relevant even today, even though this is almost a 10-year-old deck. Sometimes there's decks that you kind of pick up and you're like, oh, the artwork's a little antiquated or a little bit out of the current kind of theme of what we have going on. So I just think this is a really beautiful deck that has just, artwork that kind of is still very of this time, if that makes sense. So the reason why I have also decided to keep this deck over all of these years is I feel that it's a wonderful deck to read with. It's very nice cardstock. It's not anything too crazy. So it's, not super thick, not super thin. It does kind of keep a little bit of a bend, but it's not anything that where it's gotten creased and been wrecked. And I think it might just be because of this glossy cardstock. The other thing is that it's a traditional tarot size. So it's not anything that's super big. I know I have really small hands. So it's, a traditional tarot size. So if you like a traditional tarot size, this is a great deck to kind of utilize. And since we do have Ostara coming up, let's see what we have for some cards. Okay. I've been so funny. All right. So we have the Hangman, the Tower, and the Sun. All right. And then we'll do one more. So here we have the Nine of Wands. Okay. So obviously we're a little tired. We're a little tired. We've had a lot of stuff going on. I would definitely say that over the years, this is just a deck that no matter what, I tend to reach for, especially during this season. I think that the artwork is not just stunning. I think that it also has a beautiful way of just like allowing you to connect and read, which is something that I really love about particular tarot decks that I've kept over the years, is that I like that they have their own little personalities. So this is one of those that I feel like has its own little personality. And as you can see, it's like, even though the artwork is all very different, it is still very cohesive. And that is the one thing that I do love about them using a very similar color palette with like a similar value to everything. So it still all fits together. So as you can see here with like the Hangman, it's more realistic looking. Here we have a more kind of abstract sort of art style going on that is a little bit more like polished, and this one feels more like antique. This one is also a little bit more futuristic looking while kind of blending this like very bright kind of artwork to it. And then this one is also very detailed, but then there's still like this kind of abstract kind of energy to it. So that is something that I have really grown to love within this deck. And I know it's a little bit older. Some of these deck reviews are going to be for decks that are, I'm assuming they're still in print. So, find what you like. That's the thing about decks nowadays, is that there's so many options and there's so many things that you can kind of choose how you want things within your collection and what kind of decks really speak to you. So let me know if you guys have ever heard of this deck. Is this a deck that you would reach for, and what you guys think? I hope you have a wonderful day. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.